Welcome to the Nothing Much Just Chillin' Show with your hosts Emma and Julio. Nothing much, just chillin' show. Nothing much, just a chillin'.
Welcome back to NMJC. I'm Emma, and I'm joined today by Danielle Williams, or Danielle Paige.
Danielle Paige.
Danielle Paige, and she has just come out with an album, your first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
First album, self-titled, Danielle Paige, and we're gonna get into it today, but first I want to talk about how we met.
Yes.
And it was in college,
Yep.
at Elon.
Elon.
You lived across from me, or
Yeah.
like diagonal from me in
Yeah.
the suites, and then Brandon lived right next to me.
You were with the soccer girls?
No, those
No.
were upstairs.
No, yeah. Like, there was a whole, like, little dynamic, yeah.
You were with the RA, weren't you?
Yeah, Autumn.
Autumn,
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, that was a fun time. Danielle L.
Yes. Danielle L, and there was a Danielle, and a Daniela in my suite.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because
oh my God.
Danny Devins and then Daniela Pereira, yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
it was like, yeah. It was, I don't know why they did that to us.
Wait,
right?
they probably... Yeah, why did they? Oh my God.
I don't know.
Maybe there was just like an influx of Danielles that year that they had to put three together. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and Danielle L. I was like, okay.
Maybe they thought they were being funny.
Yeah, maybe.
I liked my situation that year. It worked out very well. And those suites were really nice. Like, that was much better than I ever imagined, like,
Right?
a college dorm to be like.
Yeah, I mean, I did have to move out, but.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I think I, like, vaguely remember that.
I had a crazy roommate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It
Yes.
wasn't one of the Danielles.
No.
Okay.
And everyone else thought she was crazy. They're like, we understand that you have to move because, like, if we were in your situation, we would also move.
That's good that you also lived with the RA, so she would have, like, first hand, like,
Yes.
saw that, oh, yeah, she's crazy.
It was just like, and when we were trying to have conversations with the RA, she would just, like, start crying instead of, like, talking. And I'm just like, okay. We're just having a regular conversation.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. Well, glad you got out of that situation. But we did live diagonally from each other. You moved out to LA was it only last year?
Yeah, it's been about a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like last April.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually, well, first, wait, what did you major at Elon?
At first I was music, viola performance, and then I moved to arts administration and arts administration, and then I was a creative writing and music minor, double minor.
Oh, okay. All the creative stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pursued your education more and got your MFA in poetry at George Mason, right? And then were you able to move here before you graduated because of COVID?
Yeah, because we were virtual, like, for the last year and a half. My program was 3 years. For, like, the last year and a half, we were just, all the classes were online. And I came, like, to LA, I feel like, a little bit after my birthday, like, in February, just to look at places.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
and just hung out.
She looked at our place.
Yeah, oh, yes. That was so crazy, because I remember you were like, this is where we live. And then I was putting the address, like, to go see it. And I'm like, this is the same place.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good price for the area where we're at, because it's, like, kind of, like, the nicest part of downtown, like, near the Staples Center, or crypto.com arena, or whatever the fuck it's called. Yeah, you were looking here and then looking at some ones down the road, and that's where you ended up. But now you live in Mar Vista, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, because when I came on that trip, I also, like, hung out with Torrance, and, you know Torrance? Yeah, Torrance. Yes. And, like, he was working on his project, so we were in the studio, like, and we had been writing over FaceTime for, like, the last couple months. So this was, like, the first time we were, like, in the studio and actually, like, recorded something we had worked on via, like, FaceTime. Yeah. So it was really cool, and I felt like, I don't know, I felt very, like, recharged. Like, I felt very stagnant in my apartment, just, like, writing poems in, like, the apartment by myself, like, type shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was like, I might as well just, you know, move out early. And my one-way ticket to LA was like $56, so.
Right, because that was the time where, like, plane rides were or plane trips, like, they were so cheap.
And I was like,
Can we go back to that? Like, if that,
yeah. DC to LA.
Yeah. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. And then it worked out because when I moved, there's so many moving like specials. So like I had like 2 months off free. COVID, so like I had 2 more months left in my last lease, but I had 2 months free. So I wasn't paying 2 like rents at once. So it worked out perfect.
That's amazing. But you like Mar Vista now?
Oh, I love Mar Vista.
That's where we moved from.
And
I
think I knew that.
Yeah, we lived in Mar Vista before moving downtown.
It's nice.
I love it. Oh my god, I would move back there in a heartbeat. We just had to move out because our apartment managers were crazy.
Yeah, it's so much better because one of the main places I go to is the beach to like skate and just hang out at the beach. So going from downtown to the beach sometimes like it would take like an hour and a half to get back with traffic, but now I like literally live 10 minutes from Venice. It's so nice.
Wait, how's skating going?
Oh, it's good. we were out there yesterday for like 4 hours.
Oh my god.
Just skating, dancing, catching a little groove.
No, that's good. That I love, like when we were home in Maryland, we rode my parents' bikes and I was like, oh, I miss this. Like because I just like go on walks and I love walking, but like rollerblading, roller skating, like biking, like I love doing that.
Hang out with us.
I know I should.
Because people always have like their blankets and like their coolers.
Oh yeah, Venice is such a vibe.
Stuff, like around the little rink that they have. So if we're not always just skating the whole time, we're relaxing. We're
and
smoking,
the skateboarders are right next to it.
Yeah, they're right. Yeah.
I used to love taking pictures of people skating.
There's always people recording stuff like that. I'm just like, all right.
Yeah. Venice is chaos.
It is. But it's fun.
When you started Elon, did you know that eventually you wanted to go to grad school?
No. I kind of laughed like when I graduated. I kept telling people like, this is the end of my education. Like I kept making that joke just because I was so like, I feel like most of us, like by the time we're done at Elon, we've done so much that we're so drained. Yeah. And we're like, no more school for me. Like,
that's how I the second I got on campus freshman year, I was like, I could be done right now. Like I don't like school.
No, seriously, I think it's just like in us to like be in all like involved in so many different ways, and I had just felt like I was just so drained by the end of it, and I was like, free me from the shackles of academia, like yeah. But I took like 2.5, 3 years in between when I went to grad school, and it was really more so I don't know what year my first book came out, maybe 2017. That I like self-published like all these poems that I just had just because I had so many, and I would post like excerpts of stuff online and people would be like, where's the book, like type of thing, and more people started asking me, and I kept saying that was like a long-term goal of mine to like release a book of poetry, and I was kind of like, I could just do that. Like you could self-publish, like you could definitely do that.
I'm sure your like creative writing teachers too at Elon, were they very encouraging of you publishing your stuff?
I feel like in academics it's more so like submitting to like literary journals and like through that whole process, not necessarily self-publication, because like in like kind of like academic poetry space, like it's more like self-publishing kind of like invalidated me for a lot of like first book contests or stuff like that. It's like it's a weird kind of world to navigate. Like everyone has their own kind of like, they want to say that they published it first or they were the first ones to do something. So self-publishing, it's weird, but I mean, it was great for me because I feel like I reached a lot more people. Yeah. Like on my own terms kind of thing. Like I got to pick everything that I wanted. I didn't have anyone telling me like.
It's like being an independent artist.
No, seriously, it is. It is. And honestly, I say that, but I'm also very grateful for like editors. Like my second book when it came out, like it's good to have that perspective. So I mean, I like both processes, but like I feel like when I wrote that book, it kind of made me want to like just be better, like be a better writer. Like I'm like, okay, this was good, but I see so many ways that I could like just be better. And so I like had this temp job that I was working in DC, and I wasn't barely doing any work. So like I kind of just used that time to apply to grad school. And I was like, okay, I want to get an MFA in poetry. And my parents were like, oh, okay. I was like, I want to go to grad school. They're like, yes, okay. you know, and I was like, in poetry, they were like, okay.
Oh.
And I was like, don't worry, I'm going to figure it out. Like, I'm not asking you for money. I'm just telling you that this is the next step of my life type thing.
Yeah.
And I only applied to 2 programs and I got waitlisted to 1. So I was like very much nervous because I was like, oh shit, I don't really have a backup plan. Like, but it was good that the one that I got into were already in the area that I was in, because I was living in DC and George Mason was in Fairfax.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very fortunate to have the opportunity. It was paid for. I had a job through it working at Poetry Daily, which is poems.com. Mm-hmm. And so I just got a lot of experience, and I really felt myself getting better. And I feel like that's, I don't know, when I started to reconnect with like music and my friends, and people kind of encouraged me and said like how much my voice kind of impacted them, then I'm like, like what else could I kind of do and like venture more in music every now and then.
Was that, I mean, I know you've always been a musical person, like with viola and stuff, but was that the time where it like really sparked like, oh, I can put my poetry to music?
I think it was at Elon. Like there were so many events that like I like kind of had my hands in, was helping out with. It was the one, I don't know if you went to this one event. It was Small House performed with me, and I did a poem, and I think Darius sang a song when he sang River by Leon Bridges.
I think I was there.
Yeah. and I had helped put together the show, and I think Brandon was like, why don't you perform one of your poems? Like, and I was like, oh, like, because I was hosting it, like, and I helped put it together and get the acts and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I was just like, oh yeah, I have talents. Like, I can add to the show.
Right.
And I like, you know, rehearsed with the band, and I was like, ooh, I really love this song. I would love to like do a poem to this song. And it felt so good. Like, I loved it. Like, I think the reaction that I got out of it, like, I kind of was like, oh, people kind of rock with this. Like, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that was senior year. And then, like, maybe a year after that, I got back together with Brandon. He was in grad school at North Carolina Central in, like, jazz studies. So he had a lot of classmates, like, that were just, he was like, yeah, I just invited him over to jam. I had, like, was going through stuff. I had written some poems, and I was like, yeah, I want to do an EP. And, like, that day that we recorded it, that was the first time I'd ever recorded, like, on a mic. We knocked everything out. I read all the poems. I said the kind of vibes I wanted to go with. I had, like, instrumentation in mind. Like, I had said, oh, I want a guitar on this and stuff like this. And we recorded, like, 6 songs that day, like, in 7 hours. And the whole EP was done. And then we just...
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And that was the first EP, We Fall Down.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Wait, that's so awesome that you just, like... did it all that one day and like didn't see, like, I don't know.
I mean, I had just met those musicians that day too. Like, I knew Brandon, but like,
that's crazy that it worked out, because I feel like a lot of creative people, cough cough Julio, like they'll put things off or like rethink like how they're doing something so many times that they won't even put it out, you know what I mean? And the fact that you're just like, oh yeah, this works, like we're gonna do this.
Sometimes
like,
it just takes like that, like it was, I will say it was Brandon that was like, oh, we can do that, like kind of thing. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, yeah, I'll call my classmates. I think he was just like, yeah, we're gonna have a jam session. And then they showed up, and he's like, oh, actually we're recording her EP. Like,
well, Brandon, our friend Brandon, is one of the most talented musicians I've ever fucking met. Like, he's amazing, and I love that he had so much confidence in himself and the band and you to be like, oh, for sure we can do this. And then it was kind of like the band was I can never say this fucking word, accompanying you. But did you, I know you said you kind of had like in mind like what you wanted to like hear in the background of your poem. So has it worked like that for this album that you just released? Like, did you have in mind like what kind of beat or melody that you wanted to like backtrack you?
Yeah, I think for my second project, At My Own Risk, I wanted to approach it different, and I think I approached it similarly like with Danielle Paige. It was more so like I love working with my friends. Like, I feel like I keep the same kind of circle of friends, mostly Elon friends. Yeah. That that just like know my musicality, like know me as a person. During COVID, I had mentioned to Cornell at like our New Year's party or something like that, right before COVID, that I wanted to make music with him. Like, I was like, yeah, just pull up, we can make some music together. Mm-hmm. And I feel like 2 weeks into being quarantined, like it was like end of March, he was like, hey, can I like pull up to the apartment and bring my stuff? Like, you wanna make a beat and like just start? And like that's when I started writing that project. And he went through beats, I picked stuff that I liked, and then he wrote a beat and I just let it play and I just wrote to it. Sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes with like the first song that I wrote on Danielle Paige was when I came over here.
I want to get into that now because I remember, so I mentioned on the last podcast, like how we went to Danielle's listening party for her album, Danielle Paige, last weekend. And that she mentioned when she was talking about the first song, DLB, that it all started when she was here recording with Julio and he made that beat, and that's kind of the first song that like inspired you to like keep going, I think, with this album. And like the poetry or like the poem, right, that the lyrics in that song, it's like you're telling yourself like you're saying like, oh, I have all these like chaotic like emotions and like feelings, and I gotta get past like the self-doubt and just let it out, right? Like, what's the last line? Like, and make an artful exit. And that's, I mean, that song's my favorite. I mean, I am biased because Julio's on it. Just a little bit. Julio's on it, but it is my favorite song because Julio's on it, but also because I feel like it relates the most to where I am right now in like my creative journey. It's like you really just have to like knock down your walls of like self-doubt and like the roadblocks that are keeping you from achieving or like keep on going to on your creative journey, because it's about doing and like getting stuff out there and like the release of like your emotions and letting your like pain and emotions fuel the art rather than like just have it sit inside you and then do nothing with it.
Right. And that's why I felt like it was important just for it to be the first song, just because I felt like it kind of just opens you up. It was like, it like calls you out, and then it's like, oh shoot, like I'm feeling this too, like kind of thing. Like I'm on this journey with you. And then it's like, okay, now here's the rest of the experience kind of thing.
Oh my God. I love the line, lately I've been feeling like my art needs me. Lately I've been needing me too. I'm like, oh my God, that's so fucking good.
No, because seriously, sometimes I feel like we're definitely in this time where we just feel like we have to create content just to be relevant.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to remember that the reason why we are driven to our art is because we want to release something, is because we want to constantly grow and go through these things and like release them in the form of whatever our art is.
Yeah.
And it's like we're doing a disservice to ourselves and to our art when we're not doing that.
Yeah. And we're not releasing it. Yeah. No, exactly. Like you got it. Another line that I really like is you've got to get out of the shadow of your own doubt.
Yeah, man.
And then sometimes the dark is just a tunnel. That's so, I feel like I'm so bad at snapping. Like, I feel like I need to snap after that one. Like that's so good. Oh my God, I love that. I remember like when we were listening to it first at your place, I'm like, oh my God. Is that how you felt like writing this, like that there's no turning back now, like okay, I need to like put my head down and like finish this project, put all these emotions on page?
I would like to say yes, but because this was the first song that I wrote on the project, and that was so long ago, I feel like that was like so long ago.
A while ago, yeah.
I feel like I had to allow myself to kind of like live my life and not just try to create.
Yeah. Because
I was at this point in my life where I was just so happy, and I was like experiencing so many new things and just like living my best life. And I felt like, you know, in order to create good art, you have to make sure that you're actually going through stuff. You're trying new things. You're experiencing life. Like, you know,
it comes from like the reflection of the aftermath, like of feeling all these emotions. Yeah.
And so it's like I've been trying to do a better job with my mental health of being transparent. And so I feel like that song, like I think when Julio sent me like the loop to it, I just like, I felt like it almost put me like in this trance of really just trying to like understand like my own mental health and like what I'm going through and how I can go through it. Yeah. Kind of thing. And like that helped me write. And I would just listen to that. Like sometimes like it's like almost like an affirmation. Like I'm listening to this. Okay, I'm hearing myself. I'm telling myself this, like do it, or like, you know, come on.
Yeah.
kind of thing.
No, I love
Sometimes
that.
it's just like a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
That song is so important because of that. It's funny because I feel like some moments, like when I'm recording, happen so organically, like me forgetting that like I'm recording, and I'm like, I talk to myself and I'm like lighting the blunt and I'm like, oh shit, start it over, because like I forgot that I'm recording, and like start the track over and I'm like, oh, let me keep that.
Yeah, well, it's like, it feels like every song you're like listening to like a very like heartfelt like stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
And the music is just, your stream of consciousness like feels imperfect because it feels very real and honest, but then it like perfectly fits in the music. And that's like that, I mean, that's with every song on this album.
That's good. And I like stressed so much about the order of this album. Like I feel like I changed the order of the songs like every 30 minutes.
I also was gonna ask, like, did you order it like in the order that you wrote things, or is it mixed up?
No, it's kind of mixed up. I feel like I wrote some of the songs a while ago, and then I went through some things that kind of changed my perspective.
Yeah.
And then I had kind of rewrote them, and they kind of felt like they were at a different part of my journey. So then like, whereas, or it's like, it's ending this one part of the journey, so it's going to go at the beginning because now I'm moving past it type thing. So it kind of like, I wanted to order it in a way that you were kind of following the whole journey.
Yeah.
And like the different moods, like, you know, the different moods, the different ways of thinking. Like, I'm up, I'm down, but like I'm so confident in myself. That's just kind of like what happens.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of confidence and like manifesting and like believing in yourself, like theme of this album. But there's also a lot of like love, heartbreak, sadness, and going through it. It all feels very balanced of high and low emotions.
It's good for me to look back and see that that's what it is, because it makes me feel like I'm not like just going through the same like crazy cycles of chaos. Like I feel like I'm growing as a person, like, you know. I feel like maybe it says something about me and like how I'm growing as a person, so I appreciate it.
Which is because like art is such a healthy coping mechanism. You know, we all have our vices, but I feel like poetry is really, it's just such a beautiful way that you can convey what you're feeling.
Definitely.
In every part of your journey.
Yeah.
Summer falls. I don't know if you care to like talk about
I don't
heartbreak or anything, but like it's such a calming song. I feel like, because you're just talking about all the emotions that you feel like when you're falling in love, and it, you know, it's not always good. There's bad stuff too that comes with falling in love. There's so many ways to overthink what happy feels like.
Yeah. I'm an overthinker.
I think most people are. I think most people, like, when they're like, if something's going too well, they're like,
oh my gosh,
something's about to go wrong. Like, I feel like I'm that way a lot. I'm like, life is going too good right now. Like, something's about to fuck it up, or like this relationship is going too well. Like, why?
I'm literally the person that's like, do you still like me?
Yeah.
And I joke around like with my friends all the time. Like, I'm gonna be at the altar, like, yeah, you still like me? You're doing this, right?
Right. Yeah, like, are you sure you love me? Are you sure you love all parts of me?
Yeah.
Oh, like, will you still love me when I change with the leaves, when I'm too sad to show up the way I usually do?
Yeah, because man, I get depressed.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes like I said, I've been working on being transparent, and sometimes like it's just like I'm low, but I'm not low because of how you're treating me, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is just how I am. Like, I'm fine. Like, I'm not necessarily asking for help. I'm just letting you know that this is how I'm processing life. Like, this is what things that I go through.
Yeah, especially when you're an adult. Like, it's different from when you're like falling in love as like a teenager, right? When you're an adult, you have all these responsibilities, and life can just hit you in the face. Like,
and it's like I still have to live my life.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's also with the song like Risk Reward. You're talking about like how a healthy relationship should, or like what you think it should look like, right? Like two people coming together, like fully themselves, but coming together. Tell me you don't need me to complete you. Let's show up as equals together, create our own peace. I mean, obviously, I'm in like an annoyingly healthy relationship. So I really relate to that song before, because I'm like, oh my God, yeah, it's like a really high risk to give your all to somebody and just be like, all right, I guess this is what we're doing for the rest of our lives. But if it's somebody, hopefully it's somebody that you feel really safe being like your full self around, and that you feel safe being an individual around, and coming together and being able to grow together, and having that person also be okay with your individual growth.
Right.
No matter if it's like different from theirs, that you can still come together and be one, but like made up of two.
Right. Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah.
And that music, oh my God, the music video is so cool too. That was, oh my God, I loved it. It has so many cool shots. Thanks. Yeah.
I wish somebody could have seen like Tasia and I like
the BTS.
Doing that. Like there could be no one doing BTS, because it was literally just Tasia and I doing all of those shots. Like I'm literally like holding a light right here so she can get a shot of me right here. She's holding the camera up there.
DIY. Like yeah. No,
but
I love it.
It turned out so great.
It turned out so great. I love your hair in that one shot too.
She was like, just stay right there, I'm about to do something. So I had no idea what she was doing, because I was already like laid back. Yeah. So she's like, it's just gonna look cool, just trust me. And so when I saw it, I said, that's what it looks like, because if I would have moved, obviously I couldn't see it from where it was. So I was just like, that's so cool.
I would be like with my phone, like the selfie camera, be like, okay, like I feel like I look like I have snakes coming out of me.
I was like, you're just playing in my hair, you said it's gonna look cool, okay. And then I'm like, wow, these shots are beautiful.
Yeah, no, she knows what she's doing. Oh, because I'm always left wondering if it's me that's too much to love. Oh my God, that that was and then you ended it with what, can somebody love me too? But the song, even though I'm like, it feels so hopeful that you will have that and experience that. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm a hopeless romantic.
Yeah. No, I love it.
Also a realist, so gosh.
But no, that song is just like absolutely perfect to like how like a healthy relationship should be, Let's kind of skipped High Alert, went straight to Risk Reward, but I want to talk about a High Alert for a second, because it's a song of like confidence in your talents, like pen game on High Alert.
Yes.
And wait, you started it with like what Masego say. Yes. I do everything. Me too. Yeah. Like
I love Masego.
You do everything. You poet, viola, you like pretty much produce your own like tracks, and you also have a full-time job. Yeah. What's your full-time job in?
I'm a copywriter at CA, yeah.
You roller skate? What else do you do?
Well, I'm published in like I translate poetry, so from Chamorro language into English. So I'm like published like in like I have different journals.
Published in multiple languages.
Yes.
I love that. That's amazing.
I also have like creative nonfiction that's published and fiction. So like in different genres. Yeah. I honestly, whatever, like I like writing things.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're so good.
And then my full-time job, I'm writing,
Right. But this song feels very much like you've gotten past DLB, like the first song on the album where you're like, kind of you're just like, okay, I just need to do it, and then this song is just like, I do it.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. This was like, I don't know if this was the last song that I wrote, but I was like, I don't have a song where I like talk my shit, like
yeah. And
I kind of wanted one, and that's why like I love that Masego song so much, because I'm just like, yeah. And he does play all those instruments, and it's just like the swag that he has about him and the confidence that he has about his ability. I was like, I could do that. Mm-hmm. I feel that way by myself.
Yeah. There's so many people, so many creatives and people in general that will wait to be validated by other people, wait to be praised by other people, but they don't realize that confidence and belief in their self is so much more 10, 20 times more valuable than if just everyone else is telling you that you're good, but you actually don't believe it, because you're the only one that is going to make space for yourself, and that is going to actually put pen to paper,
I will say the accolades do help. No, because like I think especially like I feel like as a writer, especially when I was submitting to places, and like, you know, a lot of times I'm paying to submit to places, or like, you know, it's like paying to get rejected, like that thing. But, you know, it's just like, it's nice, you know, to see other people respond to your work.
Yeah.
And to say, you know, we like this enough to put this on a platform for more people to see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at your listening party, remember there was like people from your building that like came up to the rooftop. It was on, her listening party was like on the rooftop of her apartment building. And a lot of other, because it's a co-working.
It's a co-living place.
Co-living place. So there's a bunch of people our age in their 20s, you know, figuring out life stuff as we all are. And living there, and some of them came up to the rooftop and they were like, whoa, what is this? And you're like, me? This is mine. I mean, you were really high, so I don't know if you were like that. but it was just, I mean, it was funny, but it was also just very great that they stayed to listen. Right. Because it was that good that like a stranger, not like strangers on the street, but yeah, strangers.
That was the first time I had met them. Yeah.
First time you met those people. And that other big group of people, had you met them before?
That were sitting by that was my roommate's friends.
Oh,
they came up, but that was their first time like meeting me and hearing you. And yeah, they were like, I love it.
Yeah,
like, and they were like, one of them was really talking to me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, thanks. Thank you so much.
And you were high, like.
I mean, everywhere I looked, somebody was passing me something to smoke. I was just
know. It was a celebration.
It was. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's my birthday.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing that you're so, along with this song and confidence, like that's another thing that like Julio and I have always thought was so great about, or is so great about you, is that you're so good at celebrating yourself and like celebrating the stuff that you've accomplished, because it really is, you know, finishing things adds to your self-confidence, you know, keeping your word to yourself, and finishing something that has been such a like a labor of love, like this album has, is, you know, you should feel very proud of yourself and confident, and you should want to celebrate yourself with like the people that you know are always going to support you.
I will say I won't take total credit for that, because it is very much my friends being like, you're not going to do anything. You have a rooftop, like, you know,
we'll come over.
Right. They're like, I was like, oh, I don't really want to, we want to celebrate you. Like, you know, other people want to, like, you know,
yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I have been trying to be better at celebrating myself outside of like, even Tage and I were like, we need to celebrate ourselves outside of our birthdays. Like, you know,
every day is a celebration. Yeah. Life itself is a celebration.
And it was so nice. Like,
it was so
nice. First of all, it was just, the fire was nice, the vibes were nice.
Oh, like, yeah, you know. That rooftop is so fucking nice. Mar Vista's so quiet too. Like, it's not like downtown where there's sirens every second.
Yes.
It was really calm. Oh, wait, Tasia is on the album.
Yes.
She has this, what was the name of her song? Oh yeah, Flutter Fly. Oh my god.
It's okay.
Alliteration. Flutter Fly Free. And she has the voice of an angel. Like, her voice is so smooth. Like, it's so good. I mean, Matt too.
Yes.
Matt Clanton is on the song Devotion. And again, like, you just got such good musicians and producers on this album, and have such talented friends, you know, including Julio.
Yes.
That it, like David adding to the first song made it like so much, like, just like the finished product of what he added to it is so good.
Yes, David is like my musical hero.
Yeah, David, his last name's Williams too.
Yes,
David
Williams. With DW, both of us.
David Williams is also another Elon alum, and he's also one of the most talented I mean, all these people that you worked with are so fucking talented.
And I recorded all the songs at David's, so like it was nice, because sometimes like it's hard for me to articulate certain things sometimes, because I just get in my head. I know how I want it to sound in my head.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel like I'm not doing a good job of being like, this is what I want. And then he'll play something and I'll be like, are you in my brain? Like, and then he'll be like, or this. And I'm like, wow, like everything.
He's psychic.
No, anything. And it's really just, he's so talented, because it's like whatever he's going to play for me is going to be good.
Yeah. I remember like watching the first few times that I ever saw him perform, like with Small House and stuff, I'm like, it doesn't even look like he's playing.
No,
like,
it's
he's
just
not breaking a sweat.
It's just like, so natural. Yeah. It's like as natural as like walking, him playing the keys. Like, and then he has like all his keyboards and he adds all these sounds, and I'm just like sitting there like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's why you and him together work so fucking well, because I feel the same about you when you speak your poetry, you know. It's just like, it's so good, like it feels so like polished, and like the cadence of your voice is so I don't know, everything's just so like so eloquent but also very raw at the same time. It's because
I do it all in one take. No, I'm very adamant about it because I hate, like, I feel like every time I say it a little different. So like just because it just depends on, like, I don't know what's gonna happen when I open my mouth sometimes. But it's because sometimes when I mess up and then I try to do it again, like the tones don't match up. So I I'm kind of a perfectionist in that way, that I want to do the poem all in one take, the way I would like if I was on stage, like kind of thing, just because I want it to feel like it's in one breath, in one like thought kind of thing.
You're not like a musician who is taking like multiple takes of like the same line. No, it definitely wouldn't work like that for how you perform, you know, because it's like every line is like a response to the last line, you know, so it wouldn't have the same like feeling if you did it like stanza by stanza, you know.
And it's cool because like some of the songs, like High Alert, that's one of them that like I had it written and I had ideas for what it could sound like, but I kind of read the poem and I was like, okay, David, this is the vibe, like do your thing kind of thing. And then it became that, and I was like, wow, you did it.
Wow, so most of the songs that you did with David, were they, like, you already had the poem, and then he wrote it too? Or is it sometimes the opposite? Okay.
By the time when I show up to David's, I already have all the poems.
Okay. And then he just mastermind does whatever.
Yeah, and it's nice because he can kind of, like, I love, like, Cornell and David both, like, Cornell, I had a lot of beats from the Cornell, and then a lot of, like, working with David. And what I loved about working with David is that he could hear my words and how I say it and react to it musically. Whereas, like, it's me reacting to the beat. But sometimes I relate more to reacting to the beat. Like, it just depends on the song.
Right. Like, the first one, like, Julio had the beat, and then you were just, like, writing to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. You have, like, a mixture of processes.
Yeah. It makes it easy for me to, like, mix it up or be like, I can try something else because, like, there's so many different things that work.
Yeah. Well, when you did the song with Matt, did he write his lyrics? Like, did he write that, like, hook after hearing your poem?
So I wrote that. I wrote all of it in the intent of like a vocalist being on it.
Oh, okay.
And originally I knew I wanted Tasia on the project, so we tried out Tasia, but I just like I knew that there would be more songs that I was writing that would be perfect for Tasia, and I think I was just trying to force it because I wanted to figure out like this vocalist goes with this song, this, like, I was just trying to map up my album.
Yeah.
And then like usually when me and Tasia write, like, things click, like, you know, and I feel like it was a sign that, like, we couldn't figure out, like, the perfect vibe for it.
Right.
And so every time I went over to David's, because David and Matthew lived together, like, I would always joke, like, I'm going to be needing your talents, like, type of thing. And so I texted him before one session, was like, oh, I'm really coming over and I really want you to hop on this song. Like, I feel like your voice would be perfect for it.
Yeah.
And so he sat down, I recorded it, he sat down, he did like a couple of different ones, and I like sat with it, and then we kind of went back and like adjusted a little bit, and I loved how it came out. Like,
it's so good.
It's so great just to be like, oh, my friend's in this room over here, like, oh, come hop on real quick. Like,
my friend has the voice of, like, his voice is like butter. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy.
And you know, because I feel like if people sing in a cappella groups, like, they just got it.
Yeah. I feel like everybody, not everybody, but obviously the people that know Matt remember the first time that they heard him sing. Like, I feel like it's so ingrained in my mind. Like, the first time I
think it was in Lakeside.
For you?
Yeah, I think it was Lakeside.
Mine was in was it called Whitley, that theater?
Yeah. Oh, it might have been that. And
it was a Ripcord concert, right? That's the acapella group that he was in, right? Ripcord.
I know that was
the all guys one he was in.
I'm about to say, I know that was one of the names of them. I don't remember which was which.
I think that's the one that he was in. But anyways, I remember walking in, and I think I walked because I like got there late or something. And I like walked in like at the song that he was singing. And I can't even remember what it was, but I just remember being, are you sure he's not like auto-tuned? Like what the fuck is going on? Right? What the fuck is going on?
His voice is so clear.
Found out he was a freshman. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like that is crazy that he already has a solo in this acapella group, and I feel like I don't know, there's probably so many like politics in acapella groups, you know what I mean? Like you don't get a solo until you're like a senior or something. And I was like, oh my god, little freshman with a voice of an angel.
Yeah.
Like that, insane. So,
and it just like it's so effortless. He's like, oh yeah, I could do it, and then he puts down a vocal, then he does all the layers, and he's like, oh, how's that? I'm like, oh my gosh, like
yeah.
But like David and Matthew are professionals.
Right.
Gotta remind myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, thank you guys for making time for me.
Yes, all credit to them.
Yes.
But they're so great, and like it's just great that like we have so many talented people in our circle being like Elon alum, you know.
And I love that we're in LA. I always, whenever people are like, oh, I'm like, move to LA. I always push Seriously. It, and I know like how expensive it is. I understand that, but I'm just being selfish and saying that I want all my talented friends to be around me.
Yep.
I feel like that would make life so much easier.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like Matt like is doing so fucking well. Like he's like,
do you see that video John Legend reposted?
Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
I was like, not John Legend commenting on your video.
Yeah,
Goat. You're really a goat. Like, oh, great.
Well, that's the thing about like all of our friends and like a lot of your friends, the people that worked on this album. It's well, I love the song Daydreams, it's just such a song. Like I remember when we were at the listening party and we were listening to that one for the first time, I was like, I need to listen to this every morning. Like this is like a manifestation song.
Yeah,
but it's like you already know that. I mean, that's what manifesting is you saying like I am already this, like I am already this amazing speaker of words, poet, like musician, all this stuff. I need to believe that because it's gonna fucking happen.
Right.
And I feel like all of our creative friends need to like have that sort of mentality if they don't already, because
and it's just also like believing that like your art is worth something, like that you know, yes, I create, yes, I'm an artist, but also like I'm not it's a validation, but like it's so nice to be paid for what like you're bringing into the world.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, no, the first year that I was doing like photography and video, like all freelance and like making as much as like someone would make at like an actual corporate job, I was like, oh shit, like this is amazing. Like this is great.
And it's like, imagine if you didn't have that like initial thought to like just do freelance.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't, because they're stuck in that fear and they don't just believe in their talent enough.
Well, that's actually, I mean, when I first moved to LA, like I didn't think that would happen. Mm-hmm. I was taking on, like I was babysitting, like taking on temp jobs, but it wasn't until I was lucky enough to get like one steady like freelance gig, and that like multiplied into others, and I was like, okay, and that was like 5 months into being here. But yeah, when I first moved here, I was like, oh, there's no way. Like, I don't have the resources. Like, I don't know people, and it takes time. Yeah. And it takes time now, right? Like throughout the pandemic, like the pandemic's been hard for me, and like now I have been like working temp jobs this year, but it's now getting to the point where I'm like, okay, like I think I'm ready to like be on my own again. But yeah, I don't know. I just like fucking love that song. I'm like, I need to listen to that every day.
Yeah, I love that song too. I feel like that might have been like the second song I wrote.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
That was an early one too.
And then what is the song with Tasia about? Flutter, Fly Free. Sorry.
It's okay.
It's 3 F's.
Sorry, I'm a poet. I like alliteration.
Oh, no. Fair. It just, when I hear it, like, it sounds like a butterfly.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is, right?
Whenever Tasia and I go places, butterflies always follow us, like, wherever we're at. So it's like, yeah, that has nothing to do with the song, but like that's just like an added thing.
No, I love that. It does have to do with the song.
We were at the park earlier. I was like, where are they at? Like, they usually come find us. Like, honestly, it's about like, from where it appears in the album, it's kind of like, so you've heard all these things about me, you've heard all the things that I've gone through, but like, let me remind you that like I'm still like able to release all of this. I'm still able to like move forward on my path and be beautiful despite all of the like the ugly things that have happened in my life.
Yeah, and you can heal.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful message.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I love that. I love every song. Like, I could sit here all day and we can like I only wrote down a few quotes because we would be here all day if I wrote down like every quote that like I wanted to talk about. Wait, my only note for In Another Life is sad. I was like, this is like so. Wait, what is the first line? Remind me. It's like, in another life, I'm still kissing you. I was like, oh my god. And it's so, that song is so beautiful because it's like, you can't be with that person, at least like right now. It's like a story of, I don't know another way to describe it other than like the one that got away. But it's like, oh, in this other universe, in this other world,
yeah,
we'd still be together.
Right.
We'd still be, I would be all the things that you want me to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
Yeah, no, it sucks. It sucks. It sucks. Especially because like it's crazy when I was writing that, I'm like, oh, that contradicts what I was saying before.
It's okay. It's okay. It is okay to be you're multi-talented,
yes.
multifaceted. You can be have a lot of emotions. You can be contradictory. Like, humans aren't just like this one thing. Like,
yes.
Humans can't just be like this one emotion or this one niche or this one like brand, you know? Like, we're all things.
Yeah. And I feel like going through a breakup, like there were so many things that I wanted to say. Like I felt like I was using the songs like as a way to like still say those things without like necessarily being directly in that person's like eyesight and saying it, you know, kind of from afar, like kind of thing. And it was like releasing in that way. Like it felt like a closure in that sense, just with how like the song ends and like that idea like somewhere.
Right.
At some time, maybe eventually.
Yeah. When you write that song or when you write a song like that, do you send it to the person that you wrote it about?
No, they can listen. They can listen when it comes out.
Okay, yeah. Which is already out.
They can listen with everybody else. Yeah, I might send them the link after the fact, but like, no, no, I don't do that. I think that's a little toxic.
It is sad though. But it's okay. But you have, you know, your hopeful romantic song, Risk Reward. It will come again, and yeah. I mean, everyone I feel like has a soulmate or multiple soulmates, and sometimes things don't work out with that specific one. But you know, it's just like crazy to me that you wrote that song like Risk Reward without like having a healthy relationship right now, like right now in this moment, but like you've felt that all through your last relationship, like the ups and downs, so that you took from. But I don't know. Yeah.
And that song was taken from the end of like my last EP. Like it was like an outerlude to my last EP, and it was just the bass line. And it was just like half of that song. And I kind of took it and I wanted to revamp it because it was such a short little like 1 minute song. Yeah. And it was kind of like leading me out of this one period. And so I felt like it was a cool way to lead me into another. And then like I had like a response to the first half that I had, like, you know, and it just felt like, you know, and when David, you know, added his little touch to the, you know, does his little David effect. David effect. I love that. That's really cool. And, you know, adds to, you know, the bass line that I had. Yeah. You know, it became a nice little
magic.
I know, right? I love that song.
Yeah, me too. Well, I have to say, you guys have to fucking listen to Danielle Paige self-titled album. It's so fucking good. I'm obsessed with it. Julio's obsessed with it. Julio's on. Oh, we didn't even talk about the last song. Okay, wait, we have to talk about the last song, 803 to LA. So you're 803 is South Carolina, right? Mm-hmm. It's Columbia, South Carolina, which is so funny because I'm from Columbia, Maryland. did you grow up in, because wait, isn't your family like originally from New Jersey?
So my dad's family's from Trenton, New Jersey,
okay.
But he joined the military. So he got stationed Fort Jackson, Columbia, South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
So
that's where you grew up.
Yeah, I grew up there, and then when he would get stationed in like Kuwait and Saudi Arabia and stuff, we would just stay in South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
And so then when my parents got divorced, we just kind of stayed. My mom remarried. Now she's in Charleston. So like I grew up. I was there kindergarten to 10th grade, and then 11th and 12th grade, I went to the Governor's School for Arts and Humanities in Greenville, which was like a a boarding performing arts school.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wait, that's really cool that you went to like an art school.
Yeah, it was boarding school. I went there for viola, but they had drama, visual arts, dance, creative writing, music.
Oh, that probably helped so much when you were applying to Elon for viola.
I'm pretty sure that's why I got in. Because I got in.
Oh shit, she's serious.
Because I got in on a scholarship, because they only hand out a certain amount of scholarships in our Elon 101 class. Like we were all the first year music students. Everyone was like, who got the scholarship? And me and Brandon got 2 out of the 3 scholarships, but like we didn't really say anything.
Oh my god.
So we were just like,
so cool.
It was me.
My Elon 101 class was just random. It was random as fuck. It was just
that's how I met Brandon and Kaylin. They were both in my Elon 101.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just from like living.
Well, I mean,
near each
he
other,
also lived across.
No,
so
but
was
then
like,
you're like,
just,
oh, we live in
like,
Danielle.
we're we literally see each other all the time.
Yeah. Oh, that's
and
so
then
fun.
like we're best friends. Like
Yeah.
works.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Okay, but 803 to LA.
Yeah,
again, biased because Julio's on it again.
Yes, and it's crazy because I knew I wanted to. 803 to LA was like a title that was stuck in my head throughout the whole process, and I hadn't written anything for it, but I knew I wanted a song that was called that. I was waiting on Cornell to send me more beats, and I was just like, what do I have on my computer? And at one point, Julio had sent me all of these things off his loop machine.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, there's a loop. Like I was listening to some of the loops, and I was like, ooh. And so I just started writing to it, and then I had it, and I was like, okay.
What are your favorite lines from that song?
I'm all water and critic, taking you right back to the beginning. Maybe that's what it is. I just like the song.
Yeah. I like it too. Musically, it's really nice, and yeah. I think it's like it's a great closer. Like I think you did a really good job like ordering the songs of this album.
I almost felt weird putting it at the end because I'm like, am I introducing myself too late? But like the whole thing is an introduction, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But I also wanted a song that like touched more on like, my heritage, where I'm from Guam, like people, but also people don't know much about it. So if people cared enough to like Google what Guahan means, Guahan is like the original name before colonizers named it Guam. So, like, just like, little gems.
Little history lesson. Love that.
Yeah, because that's like a common thing. People ask me, like, where my family's from.
Yeah.
So, just injecting a little bit of the culture, like, little by little, I feel like I'm, like, making more of a mark of who I am. Which I do like, so well, like, in my poetry, like, in my published works, where I'm, like, really, like, digging into those thoughts.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is so much more, like, my music is so much more personal and talking to like what I'm going through every day, which is kind of nice too. Like it feels like my best friend asked me like, how do you feel that your album is out? And I was like, it feels like such a release. Like especially like it feels like when I do like open mics or when I perform, like I feel like the moment that I like read a new poem and it like I allow it to exit my body, like I feel like it's kind of past me at that point. It's like whatever you make it, that when it comes to you, but like I've already kind of like released it.
Yeah, which is again like so healthy.
Yes,
like it's so
I'm trying.
You really are. No, it is. It's doing something rather than just like keeping it bottled up. You know, like most people do.
I did that for a long time.
Yeah,
I still do it a little bit, but I'm trying to.
But that doesn't fucking work. Like it doesn't work when you bottle things up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I am so happy that you are on an MJC this week. Again, okay. Like I was saying before, you guys need to listen to the album. It's so good. Whether like whatever you're going through in your life, because we're all going through it, like heartbreak, love, like a career, trying to believe in yourself, like whatever. Like family, like anything that is happening in your life, I promise you'll relate to at least one song on this album. At the end of every episode, I always ask a question. It's kind of like homework. Well, the homework is to listen to the album, but also homework is to let me know what your favorite track from the album is, or your favorite line. Do you have a favorite track or favorite line?
I don't think I do. I feel like every day, like when I listen to it in my car now, I love that it's out because I can just listen to my car and not like search for the files on my phone.
Yes. Yes.
I feel like sometimes I'll listen to a song and I'll go back. And I feel like every other day it's a different one that I want to hear again, like twice in a row. So I think that means I did a good job.
Yeah, you 100% did. Like I said, my favorite's the first track just because of what I'm going through right now and because Julio is amazing on it. And I really like the lyrics on that one. But I also like Risk Reward because you're describing like the type of love that like I feel like I have, but I also like have had so many like toxic bad relationships like before Julio that like I know like the pain of like, why can't I just have this, like this is what I want, this is how it should be, like why can't I have, like I'm taking all these risks with people and like nothing's like working out when it should, and it did. So I'm like happy about that. Like that's the one part of my life I have all together. Thank you so much again. Like it's such, I know I say this 1,000 times, but like you like praise and I will give it to you because it's such a solid piece of work. I was saying last episode that like one of my favorite things right now is to describe things as the highest form of art, like anything that I like random shit, and I'm like, oh, it's the highest form of art, but like this actually is like the highest form of art. Thank you. of course. Yeah, and thank you for being on NMJC.
Thanks for having me.
And we're gonna go chill. Thanks for chilling with us, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Nothing much, just a chillin'.